Kevin and Steve, founders of Bombers and Sleeves, a clothing and lifestyle brand dedicated to artists, writers, musicians, anyone currently on a creative path, or anyone looking to start a creative journey of their own. Our goal with this company and our BombCast is to encourage you to win the internal war of your creative pursuit. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, we sum it up in 3 words, and those 3 words are bomb your boundaries. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's think about it. What has more focused, intense, explosive energy than a bomb? Not that much fucking else. And so we use that as a metaphor to say that if you want your dreams to come true, if you want your creative vision to come through, you have to get intense, focused, and explosive. So now you know what that means. It's a slogan for the whole company. You'll see it on the website. You'll see it on the social media posts. So now you're in the know. You get it. And so with this BombCast, we bring you guests that embody that bomb your boundaries mentality. And today's guest is no exception to that. She has a long list of badass shit that she's done, the least of which includes bombing her boundaries. So I'm going to hand it over to Steve to introduce her, and we will get this underway.
All right, what's up, everybody? So, our amazing guest is a 7-string Viper electronic violinist, acoustic violinist, fiddler, mandolin player, guitar player, singer, songwriter, and recording artist.
Holy shit.
Wow. What don't you do, girl? She can be seen touring all around the world performing styles including pop, rock, and country. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to bring you Cassandra Sotos.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Thank
How's
you
it
for
going?
having me.
No, thank you for being here. This is
thank you.
awesome. Super, super fun doing some research on you. We had met one time a few years ago, but I know you and Steve kind of know each other a little bit more. So I was doing some brushing up, went over to CassandraSotos.com and kind of read the bio and everything. Definitely saw the 7-string Viper,
Viper.
which is badass. I can't think of a better fucking intro that would make me feel super cool.
Okay.
So currently we'll kind of slow this down and go back to how you first got introduced into music, all of that good stuff. But so currently you play with a pop. Is it pop star? I guess.
Yeah, he's
it's
a
hard.
pop star.
I did pop star. Yeah, Arijit Singh. Is that how you pronounce it?
I call him Arijit.
Arijit
Singh.
Arijit.
Yeah.
So I had never heard of him until today, until I heard that you were playing with him. And so I went to YouTube, as you do, and saw that MTV India performance of him in 2018, which I noticed you were a part of.
I was.
Which is awesome. That first song that he plays comes out of the gate. I was floored. I had no idea what to expect, but it's got that big, like, orchestral opening to it. And then it goes into almost like halfway through it, after your part, it's got like a real syncopated, almost Rush type feel between the sitar and the drums, and then you come back into like this Coldplay feel, and then I noticed Sotos has a close-up about a minute and 30 into it. Yeah, 6.5 million views. I was like, boom, that's our star right there of the show today.
She's a badass.
But it's like fucking 20 people on how big is that band?
25.
25.
There are 25 musicians on stage.
That isn't. I saw on your close-up, you have like this super focused look on your face. I'm like, is that because obviously you're in it and you're feeling it, but like, is your in-ear mix just like a fucking circus? It's got to be crazy. Like just
the in-ear mix.
Yeah,
it is like a little bit like a circus, but we had it pretty dialed in by that point.
For
so
sure.
Okay.
I don't have every little thing in there.
Gotcha.
I take one of them out and I kind of listen to the mains and see whenever my friends are playing their solos and stuff like that. I got a little bit of everything, but
yeah,
I take it out and kind of get the whole vibe. But when I'm into what I'm doing, I have a limited version of our show in my in-ears.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, what are you going to do? You can't.
Yeah, 25 instruments going in at once. That's like a monster head fuck. I mean, a beautiful head fuck. Don't get me
Think
wrong.
about this. There are around, I'm not sure more or less, but around 200 inputs to the board.
Oh my god! I bet
the front of house.
It's just unbelievable.
200.
That is that's a massive production.
Yeah.
I can't think of a current pop band that has that big of an entourage with them. Well, I mean, I'm sure there is, but that's amazing, and that's just baseline, right? You guys always travel with that many people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So, God, that's crazy. He obviously is a major star over there. What would you compare him to, like, celebrity wise here? Is he the like Michael Jackson of India.
Well, the coolest thing about playing with him and being a part of that whole experience. I'm sorry, I take that back. It's not the coolest thing. One of the things, the coolest thing is definitely the music and the people. But he is the biggest Bollywood or pop star in Hindi music history.
Period.
Wow.
And he's in his prime.
Okay.
Is that due to like record sales and like just, I mean...
I think everything, all of the above, like movies, movies,
He
downloads.
does movies.
Well, so that's
movies,
the way that the Bollywood industry works. So he's a playback singer in Bollywood films, and that's where their pop stars come from.
Means. Okay. Got it.
So what they call their independent music is anything that's not in the film industry. Mm-hmm. That's like, to us, independent music means not signed or indie label or whatever.
Right.
To them, it means non-film.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he is a playback. I mean, he does other music too, but 99% of it, or whatever, is Bollywood film music.
Nice.
And it's really interesting because it's like the music propels the films, and the film propels the music. It's nothing like anything we have here, for sure.
Wow. Yeah, that's a completely different model on that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Because I tried to do a little brief research on him, and I saw the playback thing and like how his whole kind of career was jump started, and so that makes a lot more sense now. Because I was like, why? I didn't get the movie connection like that. Yeah,
that's like just the format of their industry. And so he's like, it's kind of like playing with the Beatles or Elvis or something, even though, so it's hard for us to describe because that's like in our minds right now, a legacy or whatever,
sure,
classic act or whatever, because he's in his prime though. So I don't know. He's got the love song thing going on too. So we'll be like, at one point, people were calling him like the Ed Sheeran of India or like something like that.
Yeah.
But to me, the level of impact and fame and like the way that he's like really made a mark in the industry is more attuned to like Elvis or the Beatles or something like that.
Gotcha. Wow. So he's really like breaking some ground over there for the future of.
Totally.
That's wow. God, that's fucking cool. That must be amazing to like be a part of. Yeah.
Holy shit! I mean, are we talking like, are they like stadium shows or like what's the venues?
Well, one of the interesting things about it is that the Indian population around the world follows this industry too. Oh. So like maybe some like couple generations later, Indian Americans, they're not really maybe watching and listening that much, but pretty much around the world they are. And anybody who's not been here that long in the US is also, even young people our age and stuff, we're like one or two generations past immigration or whatever. So he can tour anywhere in the world that there's a significant Indian population.
Wow.
And it's like, we just did a US tour in all of April, 12 cities. It was like nearly sold out, if not sold out. And we were playing like 5 to 10 to 12,000 seats in the U.S.
That's huge.
Yeah. And in India, it's anywhere between 10 and 40,000.
Man,
okay, I gotta ask,
40,000.
Do you have like, was there like a place that just stuck out for you, like one show that was just like, oh my God, this is crazy?
Yeah, there's the biggest show that we do is in a city in India called Ahmedabad. I'm not saying it like totally properly. Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
That's 40,000 people. Woo. And like I didn't.
God, that's
man.
crazy.
And so the first time we played there, I didn't know how big it was. Like I just was like on this tour, and I barely know where I am like half the time, right? So I remember that day I was like, I don't really want to wear like the pants that I brought for this show. Like I wonder if I can just wear these other ones. Like. Can I just wear my blue jeans tonight? Like we wear all black. And I just was like, I was just like, wasn't feeling it. And I walked out on stage that night and I was like, what the fuck, man?
It's got to look like people as far as you can see.
Yeah, totally. It's a cricket stadium.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. So, and they all have they got the lights, the armband lights thing.
Yeah,
it's just like
visually is
it's
so
like fantasy dream thing.
Doing that?
Yeah, man,
insane.
it's insane.
Oh my God.
I know it's funny because I remember that day I just was like, oh, I just want to wear like my t-shirt tonight.
I know.
Totally, yeah.
But
Little did you know,
I didn't
the
know it was my
biggest-
first time being there.
Yeah.
And the other guys in the band who I'll explain more about why I was in this new part of the band as opposed to the core people who have been there for a couple years.
Yeah.
They know that that's like the biggest, most popular city. So they're like all mentally prepared, but of course they don't tell us anything.
Right.
So like, why would I know that? And it was wild. It was just really wild. And then the other one is that we played in Wembley Arena,
Oh, yeah.
which
that's
is
like-
not, it's not Wembley Stadium.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because that's like, Wembley Stadium is like 100,000, like the
Yeah.
Queen thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wembley
Foo
Arena
Fighters
though
and all that,
is it's Wembley.
It's
So
Wembley
whatever.
regardless.
Still a
It's-
Wembley.
it's Wembley.
It's the family.
Historical.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I was like, "Whoa, dude, I'm in Wembley. This is nuts."
How big
And
is
then
that one?
that's 12,000,
Yeah,
I think.
Still huge.
Yeah.
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 It's and then it's like he doesn't have like shows that are not well attended.
Right.
Like that's not a thing.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
That's amazing. Well, damn. So I'd love to hear just like leading up to the path, how you got that gig in the first place. But even before that, I just want to hear your background on how you started playing electric violin, what your first instrument was, if it was not that, all that good history stuff, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. So I've been playing the violin for almost my entire life. I started when I was 4. And when I was 3 years old, I saw somebody, my parents dropped me off at a Pittsburgh Symphony
Oh,
day
wow.
camp for kids to like eat crayons and stuff like that.
Standard.
Yeah. And I'm from Pittsburgh. So
Oh, okay.
they took me there. And you knew that, Steve.
I didn't know. I still have
Steve
to
was
ask
about
on
to-
air. Are
Steve was
Steelers
about
fan?
to turn my
Are you a Steelers
microphone
fan?
off. Of course I'm a Steelers fan.
I hate
and
your
now my mic
guts.
is clipped.
No, I'll let you live. Nobody's perfect.
This
Cassandra,
podcast
nobody's
is never
perfect.
going to see the light of day.
Are you also a Penguins and Pirates fan? Though, too?
I'm more of a football girl myself.
Yeah, okay,
but
cool.
obviously it's not my fault we win everything.
Okay.
God did
There's
this.
helping and then there's hurting.
God
I
did
understand.
this, not me. Okay.
All right.
So, I saw somebody playing the violin when I was 3 years old and I was like, I want to do that.
Wow.
And then I went home and I told my mom, I want to play the violin. And she's like, oh, that's cool. Neato.
Right.
Like I wanted to do something else yesterday,
Right.
But according to the story from my parents, I asked every day for like a really long time, for months or something. I said, I want to play the violin. I never let it go.
Yeah.
And I lived out in the country, so there wasn't like, it wasn't just, if you live in the city of Pittsburgh, there's like all the universities and teachers everywhere and whatever. We didn't have like that. And I was also 3.
Yeah.
Not a lot of teachers will take a 3-year-old, although they should.
Totally.
So finally, my mom did find somebody in Pittsburgh, and I started taking lessons when I was 4 with the Suzuki method, which is training by ear. It's classical style violin, but training by ear.
Okay.
So that's how I started on acoustic regular violin. And
Is that like one of the more intense methods of study?
I don't know if I would say I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how to answer that one
Fair
yet.
enough.
Let me think about that one.
Sure.
The good thing about it
I'm
is that
completely
it's
ignorant when it
it's
comes
by
to
ear.
violin, so I don't fucking know.
the cool thing about Suzuki, I mean, like Suzuki method has its critics,
Okay.
but it's really, they will accept, I think, even maybe 2 or 3-year-old kids, and you learn only by ear. They're not giving you music in the front, like sitting in front of you. You really get like that connection with music and learning by ear, which is like basically made my life what it is.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And later on, I switched to regular classical studies. I think if you're going to do regular classical studies, they might not take you that young.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So that was your in with that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I didn't learn how to read music until I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I'm still just like not very good at it.
It's pretty much all by ear.
Yeah,
Is how you do it.
for sure. Like I
Nice.
know how to do it,
Yeah.
but I choose not to, unless I'm not. It's not one of my better skills.
Sure.
I can't sight read like some classical musicians do. Most classical musicians can do that. I can't do that to save my life, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul McCartney and Jimi Hendrix both couldn't read music.
Yeah,
I get it.
it
But
doesn't.
yeah, but if you can do it by ear, you can almost. I'm sure at this point you've learned how to kind of chart in your head, and you can
Yeah.
just figure it out that
For
way.
sure, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So I started with that, and then when I was around 8 years old, I got a little bored with, my studies or whatever it is, and my mom took me to Mark O'Connor's fiddle camp in Nashville.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that was like the big turning point in my life.
Yeah.
And I went to that camp every year from like 8 to 18, and it's like 6-7 days in Montgomery Bell State Park, just 40 minutes outside of Nashville here.
Yep.
And there's teachers of all different styles, like literally every different style. You go to a different class like every hour, blah, blah, blah. And so that's how I kind of like got introduced to the alternative styles of music. And although I took classical lessons throughout high school privately, I was like really into other types of music starting from that point.
Got it.
And that's where I met Mark Wood, who is he's got a great story of his own, but he owns the company that makes a 7-string electric violin called the Viper, which is what I play.
Nice.
So I met him when I was 11, and I turned into a rocker. And, I didn't get a Viper until I was like 18 or 19 years old, but I just was literally obsessed with this man.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was like one of the founding members of Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and he invented this violin along with a man named Joe Domjan, who runs the shop, the master luthier of the company.
Yeah.
And that changed my life too.
Dude,
that's where I got introduced to that.
That's amazing. Yeah, and if you haven't seen this thing, it's like a flying V guitar except condensed down into a violin version.
Oh yeah, it's aggressive looking.
It's
looks
really
badass.
aggressive.
It is. It's
a little too aggressive for some tastes, but I don't care.
Yeah, I was looking at
wouldn't care
pictures
either.
like because I was looking at like images of Cassandra Sotos. Yeah, not creepy, but I was just like looking, for stuff maybe to post or whatever. And like the pictures with you in that thing, I mean, it's impossible not to look like a fucking badass. Like those things,
Totally.
those things are awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that people probably think I'm going to beat them up most of the time.
Totally.
Hey,
They
You're not-
totally do.
We like it that way, though.
You're like, so when you're learning all of this, like, what kind of music was going through your headphones at a time? Like when you were growing up, like was it
Okay.
always like classical, or like did you get into the rock, or what was?
Okay, so that's the cool thing. So I was also playing like fiddle music all alongside this. So I'm like
Bluegrass style?
like old like country.
Okay, gotcha.
Like country. I'm not gonna sit here in Davidson County and play and claim to be a bluegrass musician.
Right,
like,
yeah.
maybe in like Pennsylvania or whatever. But no,
Sure, yeah.
you know what I'm saying. But I have like a pretty strong attachment to like playing country fiddle kind of stuff, and also like the folk rock stuff, and hard rock too. And that's due to being involved in the camp and meeting all the fiddle players and getting into that stuff, and also due to my mom's musical taste. So my mom is like a classic rocker, like late 60s, 70s kind of person. And so we were always listening to oldies, and if we weren't listening to like the music that my mom bought for me on CD at camp, because that was like 1 week a year, that's all I had
Yeah.
to learn about this stuff. We had all these CDs from the teachers. If I wasn't listening to that, my mom was listening to like the oldie station, which I guess the oldies now is like 2001, but at that time
Sure, right,
it was like the late 50s, but 60s and 70s classic rock.
The good stuff.
Yeah. And so all of those influences combined really kind of shaped me into like the player that I am now. And a cool thing about my mom too is, my mom is a musically talented person. She never like became a professional musician or anything. She played the flute, and she was like an excellent flautist.
Yeah. That's
a flautist.
correct
In high
terminology.
school, and she's like a
Flautist.
big music fan. She's seen all these people in concert that we would all just like die to see,
Nice.
But she encouraged me, for example, to listen to this piece of music, whatever it was, and try to play the way that the singer was playing. Play the way the singer sings.
Nice. That's
So
awesome.
she would be like, she loves Janis Joplin, and she'd say, "Can you learn to play this song for me? Play the melody. No, play it more the way she sings it."
So you can add in some distortion and made it a little grungier.
It's that, but it's different. It's even more than that. It's like the delivery, thinking about like the emotion of the words of the song,
Yeah.
Got it.
and breathing, and really saying something even though you don't have the words.
Wow.
That's not something that,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if she meant to get me to do that when she was asking me to do that, or she really just like wanted me to play the song for her, but that's what happened. That's what I got.
Great lesson to learn.
That is an
young,
amazing
man.
lesson. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Super
intense.
insightful.
Yeah, it changes things a lot because, you know, just in the way that you approach what it is that you're playing and what you're trying to say with it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd love to hear more on that. So did you take that through like all different albums and try to match all different types of vocal stylings?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. I played like, I haven't done stuff like this in a while, but I actually love playing the melody line of like really great classic songs,
Okay.
which, you know, I don't know, do people like instrumental music? I don't really care, but whatever.
Totally.
Yeah,
I do.
I dig it.
I love, yeah, well, we're all musicians though.
Yeah. I think people appreciate
They really
it.
can appreciate it. So, I mean, like, that's one of my favorite things to do is to, like, really soulfully play on violin an amazingly written and performed song from a singer originally.
Yeah, man. We were in Miami last year, and we were at just some random seafood restaurant, and some guy had a violin, and he was playing. And now it's a cheeseball song. It's actually a very beautiful song, but it was "My Heart Will Go On," and I know, but oh my God, did I get emotional?
Really?
The guy was ripping it. And,
Well, then he did it good. Because
he
you could totally just play the notes.
Sure. But if you play it with that soul, if you play it with just that right type of energy, man, and he really did. He delivered it, and I was like, I got super emotional. It was crazy. And plus the violin, I'm a sucker for it anyway.
Well, you know, the violin.
No, me too.
The violin is the exact same, give or take a few notes, range of the human voice.
I did not know that. That makes a lot more sense though.
It's right there.
Yeah.
So it's like a mystical, magical thing whenever you're like, if somebody can play it well and be emotive like that, but you're not hearing the words, it like really makes things tingle in the heart and the brain, you know, because it's right there. The tone is so similar.
Wow. I never thought of it like that before. That makes perfect sense because I was just thinking back to every time I've heard it and I was like, yeah, that's spot on.
Yeah.
It's also one of those like I don't know if enmeshment is the right type of word, but it's one of those instruments that becomes a vehicle for you. That's very unforgiving in the same way like a harmonica is, right?
Yeah.
Like when you first pick up a harmonica, it sounds like complete shit. It's very simple.
Dan.
And
Yeah,
then
dude.
same with violin too.
Dude, it sounds so bad for so long.
Yeah.
So long.
There's
man.
there's got to be a huge learning curve for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily,
But-
if you start early enough, people always ask me, is the violin hard to learn? And my answer to that is nothing is hard to a 4-year-old.
right.
You just are excited and you do shit.
You figure it out.
You're like,
Yeah.
what? This is awesome, man. You know, fast forward like 10 years to a 14-year-old, you're like, this is hard.
Yeah.
You know, kids don't know.
Yeah.
There's no like, this is easy, this is hard.
Yeah.
You know, so it makes a big difference.
Definitely. That's amazing that you got started young and that you knew that's what you wanted to do so young.
I
too.
didn't like, it was weird. Like, I didn't definitely like have this concept of like, this is what I want to be or do. I just said, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
crazy.
nuts. I know.
I love it.
I mean, my parents didn't make me, people always ask me that. Are your parents musicians? Did they make you play the violin? No. They made me keep playing the violin when I was like, a little bit older than that. Like around that time that I went to that camp, that's one of the reasons they took me to get me reinterested. And it's a struggle when you're a teenager too. Shit does get hard,
Yeah.
you know? And you want to go out and play with your friends and it doesn't sound great. And you're like, this sucks, man. I suck. This sounds
Yeah.
like shit.
Yeah.
Like I want to go do something fun and easy. And I think that, I wish that more parents would encourage their kids to stick it out through that stuff, at least till high school or after.
Yeah.
Let them really decide for it then.
Yeah.
Because kids don't want to do stuff that sucks.
Right.
And
There's
it's
very
good-
low
and it-
resilience in the teenage years.
And it's gonna suck for a minute.
Yeah.
And it's worth getting past that.
What carried you through that?
Well, my parents were really, really supportive of me. Like my mom was like not going to let me quit the violin. That's for sure.
Yeah.
My mom and dad were not going to let me quit. But I remember feeling like really special about playing. Like, not that I felt like I was special, but I had special feelings about playing. I felt very identified with it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of identity from it. It was always very much me, even if I was like having wavering emotions about it. I always had faith in my violin. And so I also remember at a very young age having, feelings of success and achievement, and you get some attention, too. You don't always like the attention, but like the success and achievement that I wish that more kids got. Why I think that more kids should play instruments. I'm going to get on a soapbox for a minute and tell you a story.
No, please hop on
Preach,
up.
baby, preach.
We cleaned it off for you. Come on.
So like I was probably 8 years old. I remember practicing this one song. I had one of the corners of my house was like just for me to practice in. I remember like it was yesterday being in this room practicing the same fucking thing over and over and over and over. And I couldn't get it. It was so hard. It's called Etude. It's from like book 2 or 3 in Suzuki. Like I remember like yesterday, and then all of a sudden I got it. I had worked so hard, like however, I don't know how long it was, because you're a kid, can't pay attention to time.
Sure.
I'm working and working and working and working, and I got it. And I was so happy that it finally clicked and it worked that I almost started crying, and I ran into the other room to tell my mom that I finally got it.
No.
And like the feeling of knowing at that young age of 8 or whatever that you can work really hard at something and focus and know what it's like when it works is like a huge impact mentally when it comes to everything: school, music, friends, work, anything. Just to know that amazing feeling that you're like almost brought to tears by the fact that it worked.
No.
Yeah.
Man, I'm getting chills hearing that, because I've had that exact same feel. We've all had that exact
Yeah.
same feeling. Yeah, and just that, like, it's hard to teach that discipline of perseverance when you haven't felt that before, but you just have to go through and feel it once, and then that's all you
right?
need.
And you know what it is. I remember it, man.
And then you can't do it wrong after that point.
No.
You're just like, can I do that again? Yeah, I can. And now it's like ingrained.
Right.
That's amazing.
And like I think more kids should play instruments or whatever.
Totally.
And more parents should make them keep playing them.
Yeah.
I've never met somebody who said that, yeah, I played the violin and I don't regret quitting.
Right.
Right. Well, I think too, even parents with like, putting their kids in sports, and they're like, and then they're like, I don't want to do it. It's too hard. Well, motherfucker, it's the hard that makes it great.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have quit the violin, and then you would never have played in front of 40,000 people.
No.
Okay. You never went to Wembley. Okay, but you sat there and you did it, and you were disciplined, and you kept that type of energy with you your whole life, and that's what makes you great.
I try to keep it. It's like,
yeah.
I'm sure you guys have talked to other people, and between yourself and this BombCast, that act is not like, I don't want to make anybody think that I am just like pounding my chest, like resilient and strong every second of every day.
No, totally.
No.
It's a process.
Absolutely.
Totally.
We all want to sit back and chill by nature, so it's a
process.
Continuous. Yeah, you got to put yourself in. So that's a fascinating question. So how do you keep yourself sharp nowadays? Like, do you put yourself in like challenging musical situations? Obviously, the group you play with is super dynamic, so that's a challenge within itself.
Yeah.
But or maybe not now, because you've pretty much grown into the player that you are. But maybe like.
No,
after
there's always room.
Gotcha.
I always want to be better. I don't get to I'm home now, so I should be practicing violin more, but I practice other instruments now too. But you asked me how I keep myself sharp. I don't know if you mean like my resilience and like keeping my career moving forward, or like literally my playing.
Literally you're playing in that
literally
particular
my
question.
Playing.
Yeah.
I need to work on that more.
Okay.
Because I work a lot. I play and work a lot, and it's not necessarily like focus time where I'm working on something new.
Sure.
But that's what I need to do. But whenever I'm like have a habit of writing stuff for myself to play that I can't actually play.
That's a challenge.
Awesome, yeah.
That's great.
It is a challenge. I have a habit of that. Like, and so I'll have to work out things like that. But definitely the best way to become a better musician, like for sure, and it's not my opinion, it's the truth, y'all.
Yeah.
You have to play with people who are better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
No, that's very true.
Like, you just have to go out there and do it and do things that you know, maybe didn't think you could do before, or go ahead and at least try a few new things. Definitely do not stop playing with people who are better than you. And the coolest thing about being in Arijit's band is that it's like chock full of people who are just light years and lifetimes better than you.
Right.
We got like some of the best in the world at whatever they're doing, you know.
Were they just like handpicked from
were
like
handpicked.
symphonies from like what are all their backgrounds like in a nutshell?
So what he did for this was, it was an amazing format, just like a dream team kind of format. He has his core band of people who they're living in India. They're like full time in the Indian music industry in Bollywood and Indian rock, whatever, Indian people, and they're called the core band. They call themselves the core band. They're always with him. They're like full time people for your 5-6 years since the beginning, and then every couple of years he does a new format. So previously he had a symphony plus, it's like Arijit Singh with symphony and the core band, you know, and then this time he did Arijit Singh with world musicians and with the core band. So world musicians means an American fiddle player is one of them. So to us, of course, it's not a world instrument. To them, it's a world instrument.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
So I am the American fiddle player. So we assembled 11 people from different countries representing different instruments. And we had people from like literally the most world-renowned people in their instrument to like street musicians that he had found.
That's amazing.
Man.
Yeah. So we had violin, cello, accordion, viola, didgeridoo, I already said, bagpipes and ney, flute, like ney flutes,
Yep.
bagpipes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to envision the stage in my mind.
Well, let's go back to this didgeridoo.
Canoe, didgeridoo, yeah.
What? I'm not familiar.
Oh, you have to like practice like circular breathing. It's like a long tube that goes like whoa.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you have to.
It's
like,
Australian.
keep it going.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy playing it
I'm
was
gonna
German.
Google it.
It's an outback instrument.
Didgeridoo. You totally know what it is, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like yeah.
Oh,
It's
that
like,
thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
that thing. So, wait, where was I? Flamenco guitar, canoe, didgeridoo, accordion, bagpipes, ney, me, handpan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm probably forgetting somebody that I care about a lot. Maybe that was it.
Is
And sitar. Yeah, sorry.
And the
Oh,
sitar.
man. And
And
he's
the
actually, Rishab is a
Wow.
bad motherfucker. That kid is a bad motherfucker.
He
He's
is
got a
so
metal.
g-
He's
so
got a
good.
metal band. He's got a metal album come out, and he just is signed with Sumerian.
Okay.
You know, the label that has animals as leaders.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the kind of shit he plays on sitar.
no shit. Just odd time
Damn.
signatures. Just crazy
Just
shit.
crazy
He
metal.
lives in odd time signatures.
Like,
4
he
is
just
like
is.
just boring as shit to him. I'm sure. Yeah.
I can only count to 4. I'll leave that to
Right.
him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love the sitar. One of my favorite songs of all time is Norwegian Wood. The whole Rubber Soul record for the Beatles was just, I mean, heavily influenced by the sitar. Love that instrument, man. I've actually never seen anyone play it live. I would love to see that.
Yeah, whatever
that's
that
incredible.
first song is. So like any like
There's
sitar,
a big
tabla,
sitar solo in that.
Yeah.
We have so in
Do you
the
have tabla
and we
too?
also have classical percussion. Sorry, I was running out of. I forgot.
It's a lot.
There's
to keep
25
track of.
people.
That's a lot.
So we've got let's see. We've got 4 or 5 singers, a string section, viola, violin, cello, accordion, handpan, synth, all the synth stuff like the electronic triggering, like
Yeah.
EDM, whatever. A drummer, a classical percussionist, a ethnic percussionist. What do you call that? Ethnic percussion? Yeah.
Yeah, I
like
think so.
tabla and like
tabla,
whatever.
Yeah.
And then mandolin, bouzouki, like ethnic strokes stuff.
Yep.
Another flautist, Indian Hindustani flute or whatever, and then Hindustani. I don't know if that's correct. I'm showing my somebody from India is going to
course.
watch this or listen to this and be like,
That bitch.
"Bitch, what are you,
Sandra.
bitch? What are you saying?
Mm, fucking
What are you
dragging
even
it around.
saying?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canoe, flamenco guitar, sitar, piano keys,
Jeez.
Dude, that's
bass
just...
drums, 2 guitar players,
Wow.
and then Airjeet.
So then what are rehearsals like then? What's the writing process like? Because
We
none of you
can't
guys...
talk about this.
Okay. It's just going to go
We would
forever.
go to like the process of rehearsing for this tour was like the craziest thing that's ever happened to me, and I can't like complain about it in public. It's
Yeah.
nuts. Like we would go there, we would practice until 7 or 8 in the morning, and we got there at like 4 in the afternoon the day before.
Wow. That is
It's a
some
3
hardcore
it's like a
shit.
3-hour show.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Trying to iron out parts.
And then actually a really cool thing about like I was dead. I had jet lag. Like I was like literally
Yeah.
somebody is gonna come and I might be dead. Like I'm not sure. It just like went on and on and on. And I had just met everybody. I had just gotten to India for the first time. That will fuck you up on its own.
Oh, I bet.
And then I was like, oh my God, guys, it's 7 in the morning. What's happening to my
Holy shit.
body? But a cool thing about it is that, you know, he assembled these world musicians. They didn't send us any of the music before at all because he wanted us to like come together and come
Yeah.
up with something.
Okay.
Organically
that's
figure it
cool.
out.
It's
That is
awesome.
pretty cool.
It's awesome because I felt the whole time like the reason I was there was because he actually wanted an American fiddle player, but he wanted me to be me doing that.
Yeah.
Not just like, okay, here's like the stuff that you have to, the stuff you have to play.
Yeah.
He like actually wanted, I wasn't playing a role. I was playing myself.
Gotcha.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So how were you introduced to him then? How did this whole thing come about?
Yeah. So it sounds like it was an overnight success.
It does
But
sound
was-
like it.
But it
Yeah.
was, so, you know, I've been in touch with a personal friend of mine. I'm actually a part of an organization called Women in Music that just started here in Nashville. We have been active in New York for over like 35 years, like thousands of members. And we've, in the last few years, started branching out to other cities over the U.S. and across the world. So I'm helping lead the Nashville chapter as of the last year. But I used to live in New York City. And while I was there, I was volunteering with Women in Music. And the former president of it was somebody who became a close personal friend of mine over the years, 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
She travels to to Nashville for business a couple times a year. And one of the times she was here, she brought a colleague of hers to see me play on Broadway at the stage on Broadway.
Dun, dun, dun.
Legendary.
The legendary stage on Broadway. So
This sounds good there.
it sounds great there. I love
It
playing
does.
there.
Yeah.
The
Sounds
staff,
really good.
The staff is awesome.
They
That was
are.
great. Have y'all been in there lately? Like they've got it's a totally different kind of, I mean the lower stage is still the same, but they've got like 2 more floors.
Yeah, it's nuts over there.
It's crazy.
Mm.
Everything in downtown Nashville's nuts. So,
Yeah.
anyways, this
So they checked
person,
you out. Yeah.
this person from London comes to see me play. We all hang out. It's awesome. 6 months later, I get an email. Hey, I knew who he was because they work with him. So
Got it.
I had
Okay.
heard of him before, minorly, just a little bit. They're looking for a violin player. I recommended you. Is this something that you'd be interested in? Here's the tour dates. It's a little short notice. You'd have to be there in 5 days.
Wow.
India in 5 days.
Yeah.
India
And
in
I
5
was
days to audition or
To go.
Like you had it.
Well, no.
If you wanted it?
No, I didn't have it. I like called and negotiated and sent video and
Gotcha,
you know
gotcha. Okay,
the
okay, cool,
confirmation and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I
but
think
if
they already find, like, if they want you, they've already found whatever it is about you online. I mean, everybody's online,
yeah.
Right.
you know, so they decide and then
Got
do
it.
like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
okay.
I was like, yeah, yes, I do. I want to go to. Yeah, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yes, I want to go to India. It was an easy thing for me to answer. I was excited beyond belief, and I really had no idea about anything I'd be getting into at all.
Oh, wow.
So you're
Yeah.
you're
That's
you're
amazing.
on the plane, right? And how long is the plane ride?
Dude,
Too long, right?
dude, it's too long. So
Okay.
basically,
23.
okay, but so about how I got found for it. Like I said,
Yeah.
it sounds like an overnight success, but literally that was like, I don't know, the 600th or 700th time I've played in downtown Nashville. And,
yeah.
you know, I was friends with them for like 9 years. And
wow.
like somewhere when I was like 12, I learned the fact that you need to put a good performance on everywhere you go all the time and be on point, blah, blah, blah. So it sounds like, oh, you got lucky and somebody saw you playing on Broadway. Well, not exactly.
No.
Not exactly.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
This girl knowing what she wanted from the age of 3.
Yeah, right.
Fucking slogging it out is definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not overnight.
No.
Okay, well, awesome.
Well,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So you were saying like the plane ride.
No,
So
I was saying,
from Nashville to Mumbai.
Yeah.
Counting like getting to the airport like door to door, it's about like 25 to 30 hours. So one way, like if you're just the flight time from Newark to Mumbai is 14 and a half there and 16 and a half back.
Shit, man. What is your
Oh, that's
reaction
crazy.
when you get out of the plane? You're like, well, we're in India.
I
What's
was-
going through your mind?
It's so weird. It seems like a lifetime ago, and it also seems like yesterday. I was so hyped and so excited, but also frightened. I don't know them.
Yeah.
At that point in time, I don't know these people. I know that people that I trust recommended me to it, but I don't know them.
Right.
That's
So you're,
It's
so you're
literally
on the other side of the world.
literally other
Yeah.
side of the world by myself. I had a little bit of communication stuff because I didn't really understand what it was that I needed to bring. Like, you know, so just to clarify, I didn't go in 5 days. I said, no, I can't come in 5 days, but I can come in like 12.
Okay.
There was like a week of rehearsals, a little break, and then another week of rehearsal. So I was like, y'all gonna cut me some slack, man.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna come for the first week. I had gigs. I had plenty of stuff I had to cancel.
Sure.
And it was actually like a 3 or 4 month tour.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't just
So you'd be
go to
gone for
India.
almost a
I
year.
literally had to like prepare my house to just be gone
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I was excited, but also like terrified beyond belief. Luckily, when I get super terrified, I just like shut off and go forth and conquer.
Focus, yeah.
I like that.
I can't picture you scared for
Yeah.
some reason.
No, like
No.
I'm like, well, we're doing this now, aren't we?
Yeah, man.
That's kind of how I have to operate on a daily basis.
Is there like a language, much of a language barrier between?
Actually,
you?
not really, because
That's good, yeah.
India was colonized
Yeah, that's right.
for such a long time. It's in their school systems. Everybody knows English. Their English is better than any Europeans.
Wow.
So
I
like,
didn't know that.
you know, maybe not in like all sectors of society, but generally, yeah, no issue.
Cool.
A funny story that the tour manager always tells you, like the tour manager picked me up from the airport, and he like would, if he was here, he would bust out laughing and tell you this entire story about like the moment that he saw me come out of the doors and see him. Apparently, that I just looked so ecstatic and relieved that he like couldn't hold it together and laughed at me. I was so glad that somebody actually showed up to the airport to pick me up.
Right.
Yeah, because what do? You
What
can't
would
get
I
an
do?
Uber in
You
India.
don't know shit.
Well,
Yeah.
it turns out you can.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know that. So
I digress.
India's like
I don't know
India's
shit
like
about India.
the coolest place to hang out. Like I recommend everybody go to India at some point in their life.
Okay.
It takes you a while to figure out how to do it, but once you figure it out, you can do it. You can totally do it.
Is it
Yeah.
like, is it beautiful? Just like the landscape? Like,
It
what's-
is like the most beautiful place and the ugliest place in the world
same time?
all at once.
Because that caste system is still apparent there, is it? Or is it
Yeah.
not? It's got. I guess it's on its way out for the most part.
Social issues, right? But
Yeah.
the poverty is out of control.
Okay.
It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Apparently there's a few places in the world that are worse, but not much.
Yeah.
And it's just like you'll get an entirely new perspective on the life that we live here
Oh, yeah.
versus what you think is hard.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. Honestly, I can't imagine.
But a cool thing about it too is that I got to know people just like us, like music producers, guitar players,
yeah.
in another country, like literally the most different place in the world you could be.
Yeah.
Actually, that's one of the things about it. It's like it's not similar like at all. It's so different in
Yeah.
every way. But I've like buddies that are guitar players and producers.
Yeah, man. They always say music
Doing their
is that one
thing.
thing that just brings everyone together, and I don't care where you are in the world, man.
No,
You know?
totally. And it's easy to like think as an American or as somebody who, hasn't been to another country, any other country, that you see like what's in the travel magazines, like, you know what I mean? Like you see National Geographic and Travel and Leisure, like with any country, like any European country, you see like the pretty pictures, you see the ugly pictures. You don't see like somebody going to the grocery store,
Right. Just
You know what I'm saying?
There's nothing sexy
the
about that.
average like normal day stuff.
Like
yeah.
these are normal people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the all of India is not a slum. The all of Italy is not a winery.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. The all of America is not a cowboy hat. However,
Right.
how do they perceive?
but we're gonna change that, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we like hot dogs and baseball games and, Chevy trucks? How are we viewed over there?
Wild West.
Wild West, huh?
Wild Wild West. Like
Yeah.
like Will Smith Wild
Times
West.
Square.
Is it-
Or like Tombstone Wild West.
I think it's like Will Smith in Tombstone.
Oh, yeah.
Will Smith in Tombstone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a
That's
good-
what I think.
I want to watch that movie. That's a great. I'm
We
saying
gotta
that.
tweet him right now.
There we go. Can we make that happen? Will Smith as what? I guess he'd be he's more Doc Holliday than Wyatt Earp, right?
I don't know what I would see him as. Yeah, maybe more Doc.
He's definitely Doc. I have a question for you,
Steve.
Okay. All right. Electric violinist, acoustic violinist, fiddler, mandolin player, guitarist, and you are a great singer.
Thank you.
I love your voice. I really do.
I didn't know that.
Is there a certain instrument that you, I don't want to say like prefer, but like what, I don't know, what would you, they're all laying out on a table. You get to pick one to just fucking rip up. What do you pick?
I would pick my acoustic violin, my fiddle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's me.
Just something about it, huh?
It is. It just is. I mean, I love my electric violin too, but that violin I'm never going to let it go.
It's where the soul lies, right?
Yeah, it does.
That's amazing. That's awesome. What's so RSG, you said he's kind of in his prime now. It kind of seems like you are too. Do you feel that way? Like you're on the come up with him?
Not.
Yeah, you hope
It
not.
seems like you peaked years ago at 4.
Dude,
No, I wouldn't
what?
say it. I'm saying prime, not peak. Your prime could last for another 20
My
years.
prime. I'm still up and coming, man.
Yeah.
Well, what's
doing
go-
the thing.
Yeah, and
I'm
you
doing
are
the
doing a
thing.
thing. What tell us about this
becoming.
new, you're doing a new thing, right? You're coming out with some
Yeah.
singles and
I
stuff.
do.
We're
So
gonna
I
hear
have
some
my own.
Origis.
I have my own music coming out soon, which is going to surprise a lot of people because
I love
I've
it.
spent like the majority of my career. No, sorry. Let me back up and say all of my career playing the fiddle, and like that's been great, and I love it, and like that's been the thing, and it's me. But I've always wanted to have my own show and release my own music and write my own music, and I started singing. I was like, when I was a teenager, I was like super terrified to sing.
Yeah.
It was like not something that I did. I didn't have the, personal fortitude to do it. And I grew those balls when I got to Nashville and was like, it's now or never, bitch. We're going to do this. So, I have that music coming out. It's like super fiddle heavy. It's like fiddle everywhere. And then I'm singing the songs that I wrote too.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
this
awesome.
is kind of your own thing.
It
here.
is me.
You got to be excited about it.
I'm
Just-
super excited about it because I've worked a
Yeah.
really long time on like the embodiment of the message that I want to have and the sound that the message and the sound that really represents me.
Yeah.
I felt it was really important to not just do whatever and put it out because for so long people have seen me as a fiddle player or violinist, whatever. Rightly so. So this is going to be a completely new introduction and, you don't have that many shots, right?
Right. Absolutely not. So you got to go for it.
Yeah, just going for it. And I spent a lot of time making sure it was like creatively exactly what I wanted it to be.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Jinxers.
So what is that message then? If you don't mind giving us a hint of it.
You'll have to listen, man.
Okay.
I will.
All
Can
right.
I get a trailer for it?
Well,
A little taste?
yeah, I guess.
Maybe like the background of where the influence for it came from.
Well, I don't know. It's like I it's like right. The first thing I'm gonna put out is like a super. It's like country rock. A country person would say this sounds like rock, and a rock person says this sounds like country.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's like that, and like just fiddle all over it, and strong woman message.
Cool.
Not man hating, not revenge, just strength.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Personal strength, rock and roll.
I love it,
Yeah, a
man.
little
Empowering.
Yeah.
I dig that.
No-
we're
no
just
shit
chicks,
taking.
We
Yeah,
hang
there's
around.
Jason, yeah.
We're brothers.
We do this
man.
a
We do
minute.
this all the time.
No shit taking.
Let me ask
No
you
shit
this, because
taking.
like you said, a country person would think it's more rock, a rock person would think it's country. Like, we all kind of grew up in a time where rock was a big. It was still a pretty much a big thing. Do you see the rock coming back? Like, and if it does, my personal opinion is I think country is pretty much the closest thing I can get to like a really good rock show. Besides what's happening, like the rock
Besides the
genre now.
recorded.
Yeah, besides the record, and the bands are still great. But I don't know, man. I like the Jason Aldean shit that I was hearing. Like his band's that's a fucking rock band.
It's a
That's
rock
not, That's
band.
not a country band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, barring, like, the recent history in country, I think that was, for live music and live concert touring, that was the way to go. I think that's why I liked it so much
Yeah.
when I was, like, a teenager and, like, early 20s or whatever, because it was just, like, listening to a rock band that had, like, a fiddle a little bit and, like, thematically country lyrics. As far as, like, where is rock gonna go? I don't know. I love rock. I love hard rock. I don't know. I'm a little bit distressed and confused by like the music industry in the U.S. like right now. I don't know. Like
I don't think you're alone on
I'm
that.
not alone. I know I'm not alone on that. But a cool thing about my experiences over the last 2 years is that going to India and going to all these other countries with them, my eyes are really open to the fact that there are so many people all over the world listening to so many different things.
Yeah.
It's really easy to get in our own bubble here and be like, oh, what is like country radio like? What is like rock radio like? Is it still this? Is it still that? And like, who's at this place now? And who's doing this? And who's writing with who? And blah, blah, blah. It's like, go to Japan.
Oh
See
yeah.
what that's about.
You know, I want to see what that's about. Like,
Yeah.
get your head out of your ass.
Totally. Actually, a lot of big rock bands go to Japan.
Yeah,
and
for
play.
sure.
It's very much alive over there.
Super alive. South America. I've never been to South America.
Yeah.
I mean, they say that South American rock fans are like
Just
the
insane.
most insane people on the planet.
I bet it's amazing to play there if you're
the
like a big
Rock in
fan.
Rio show is one of the hugest like rock festivals.
Yeah.
and that's still going. That's been going for a
Totally.
minute, man.
Yeah, so like I don't know exactly I don't know what to say about that as far as
Yeah.
fans in the US cuz I also feel disconnected from like teenagers and like stuff. I don't know
Totally.
what they're doing.
Totally,
I don't
me
get
neither.
it. I don't get it. I think that people who are fans of rock are still listening to classics right now,
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
My whole rock catalog is all recycled.
right?
Yeah.
There's nothing.
And if
past-
there's young kids that are into rock, I think they're listening to that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I think.
And
Not to
Nikki-
say that there's not good rock bands out there. There are.
No, totally.
Yeah.
I
think rock has been that type of. Nikki Sixx said this in an interview when like The Dirt, the movie came out. Kevin came over and watched it. We did a little whole like show about it, man. Because I
feel like
I
I
was super
feel like a lot of people I know had Dirt watch parties.
yeah, Dirt
Totally.
Watch Party.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It was a great movie too. I mean, I thought it was well done. I think there should be a sequel. Which I think there's rumors about it, but Nikki Sixx said in an interview, he's like, they're like, well, why did it get so much attention? I mean, you guys haven't came out with a record in a long time. You were big in the 80s. He's like, because rock and roll is the one type of music that just stays with you.
Yeah.
Like, and I think when
Yeah.
people, it had something to say. It still does. Like, not many genres can really cut into the vein like rock and roll can. You know?
No. And from every facet, not just like, it's like that musical aspect of it too. It really cuts into you. Maybe like, okay, lyrically, a lot of Motley Crue's music is like,
Oh yeah.
leaves a little to be desired.
Yeah, totally.
Lyrically,
Yeah, don't get me
it's
started
not exactly
on,
poetry,
No.
Right.
but musically,
Stylistically.
all the whole package really, really cuts people.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like you said with the violin too, it becomes a part of your identity.
Yeah.
In a way that's, I think, is stronger still than a lot. I mean, country kind of has that, but not as much as rock and roll to really influence like your entire being from the ground up, the way you dress, the way you think, the attitude of it in general. Like,
Yeah.
you just, yeah, man,
I think
that's
older,
irreplaceable.
I think older country does. Not
Older country for
nothing
sure,
that
yeah,
we
yeah.
have today
Yeah.
does. Nothing today does.
Man, I think that
Sorry,
that
I
older
feel-
country that was like some punk shit, man.
Oh yeah, the old Merle Haggard stuff. That's
yeah,
badass,
even some of
man.
that Hank Williams, like,
Yeah.
damn, that shit was brutal.
It was brutal.
And they were living that
The
shit.
songwriting was real. It actually
Yeah.
is pretty poetic.
Extremely. Some of
You
it,
know,
yeah.
the musicians, they were totally living it. I mean, that whole thing up until like, I don't know, 90s kind of country, like the Hat Act kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I am a sucker for some of that 90s stuff.
I am.
though.
I
you
really
had
am.
to be. Had to be.
I totally am.
But no, right. That old school stuff, man. That was some, like, that outlaw shit was
Yeah.
just to the bone, man. Like, and honestly, I never got into it until I moved here because I never listened to country. Really, I listen to the 90s stuff. You know, I
Yeah.
like the Shanias, the Rascals, you know, and
Yeah.
Keith. I've always been a fan of Keith Urban. He's just badass to me.
Yeah,
I'm
for
sorry.
sure. He is.
He's awesome. But man, when I moved here, like just getting into Johnny Cash and Merle and Hank, I was like, damn, like these motherfuckers were hard.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, once I moved here, I really got that though. I listened,
Yeah.
you know, cruising around town, listening to all that stuff. I'm like, oh shit, it makes a lot more sense when you're here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from Oregon. I'm from the Northwest, so it doesn't make sense up there, but it makes a
Yeah.
lot more sense out here.
So in Oregon, do you have like the influence of the Seattle rock scene?
Seattle and California for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah. I spent a lot of time down in California because like my parents were split, so I would split time between Southern California and Oregon, and so yeah, tons of stuff from Seattle scene, Los Angeles punk scene, stuff like that. So the whole West Coast hip hop, all of that, which I really love. So yeah, it was completely different to come out to Nashville because I didn't listen to country at all. I still honestly own one country album to this day, but I had never bought a country album when I was living out there at all. Not that I didn't like it, I just didn't get it. I was into all that other stuff.
Right.
But when I did get here, the floodgates opened up. So it was really cool to like be introduced to it for the first time in the place where it was born. You know,
Yeah,
one of the
that's
places.
awesome.
Yeah.
So we're at the part of the BombCast where we like to ask our guest this question. Now, this is the slogan of our company. So we ask you to answer this just however it comes out of your heart or whatever's off the top of your head. Man, there's no right or wrong way to answer it. But what does bomb your boundaries mean to you?
I think that bomb your boundaries means knowing that you're afraid to do something possibly and shutting that off and going for it anyways. The fear of, like, to me, the fear of looking back and feeling like I didn't try to do something a little bit is way worse. The fear of not reaching my potential that I was gifted with is way worse than flying to India and nobody picking me up from the airport.
Absolutely.
Like, I can deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can deal with it.
somehow. Yeah.
I'll figure it out. And you have to just, like, you know, whatever it takes for you to go ahead and do what it is that you need to do to get better at what you want to get better at, you've got to do it. I say to myself, I want to do something, so I have to.
Yes.
I have to do it.
That is huge.
Yeah. And like, you know, like, I don't want to sound like I just live every moment, every day, just like super pumped up. Like, I do get depressed about this stuff sometimes. Anxious and depressed and like, oh my God, overwhelmed beyond belief. How am I going to manage this? How am I possibly going to pull this off? Well, I've just got to figure something out. It might take longer than I planned it to be, but I've got to just do something, man.
Absolutely.
And really, like, what are your boundaries? What I've figured out in most of my time so far is that the absolute worst case scenario, let's be serious, the absolute worst case scenario of you doing something that you wanted to do and it not working is really not as bad as you think it is.
Right.
It's really not that bad.
It's never going to be as bad as turning around years later and saying,
No.
shit, I wonder what it would have been like if I just would have done it.
Right, exactly.
That scares the shit out of me.
Totally.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if I said it correctly, but like, the worst case scenario, worst thing that could happen is really not that bad. I'm not gonna end up like homeless and on drugs and lying on a street somewhere.
No,
That's not my worst case scenario.
absolutely not.
My worst case scenario is that my pride gets bruised, I run out of all my money, and I have to do a job that I don't want to do.
Right.
And if that's the worst thing that happens to me after all this, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah.
And the
Totally.
likelihood the likelihood of it even being that worst case is pretty low anyways.
Right.
Because if you're going to be a bad bitch, you got to be a bad bitch.
That's right. You own
You
it
gotta
day
keep
in and
going.
day out. Just keep that
That's the
steam
shit,
train
man.
rolling, motherfucker.
And be honest,
love
like, are you even really thinking of that when you're doing this? Like when you're going in, you're thinking like, well, if it didn't work out, I could always do this. Like you
No,
really don't have those
no.
like plan Bs and none of that
No,
shit.
I
You
don't have a
just
plan
do
B.
it.
Yeah, I just do it. I just
Right.
do it. I don't have a plan B. But there are moments where you're like, man, this is a big risk. Okay, what's the worst case? Okay, that's not actually that bad.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people psych themselves out and they think about the worst case. They just think about the worst, just literally the words, the worst.
Yeah.
They don't actually think about what is actually the worst case scenario.
yeah.
Yeah, you should be
And, like,
thinking about the
theoretically-
end goal, not the worst case
Yeah,
scenario.
totally. It's just never that bad.
Does that help you kind of ease the anxiety of stuff? You literally play out like what the absolute worst case scenario would be. Like, do you
Yeah.
ever write that out or like see it in your
I
head?
don't write it. I think that writing makes things happen.
Totally. Yeah.
No, it does.
So
Well,
I
I don't
don't
know
write
if
it
you
out.
have like a pro and con list, like best thing that
No.
could happen, worst thing that could happen. Obviously, this is better.
Right.
Kind of type deal.
No, I write stuff out a lot. I have made a habit over the last many years of writing down things that I want exactly
Beautiful.
and keeping those for myself
Yeah.
and describing scenarios to myself and how I don't always know how it's going to happen. I mean, one thing about me and a lot of other people that I know that have been successful throughout times in their life is that I always eventually do what I say I'm going to do. It might be a little bit different than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It might take a really long time, but it happens.
Yeah.
I get to it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know,
No,
it's like
man.
slow and steady wins the race, right?
It does. As long as that persistence is there. It's
I
gonna
haven't
work.
put this single out yet. It's because slow and steady wins the race, man. I made sure it was perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't want to stall myself by perfection, but like it wasn't the right time to put it out 3 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't right. And I said I was going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That's kind of how the universe works, man.
Yeah.
Like, eventually you get there, and it's probably in a way that you never even expected it to,
Totally.
right? But the thing is, like what Kev said, man, with persistence and that belief and that knowing,
Yeah.
like, you'll get there.
And honoring the fact that you are gifted with something too.
That's
Like
Absolutely.
having an obligation to honor the fact that you're given a gift and you should do something useful
You
with
should give
yourself.
that gift back.
Give it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be useful with your time.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
and your time on earth, your time with people around you, with the public, with your family, honor the fact that you've been given the ability to do whatever it is your ability is, not necessarily creative or not.
No, that is so huge. I love that you say that because it is an obligation. And with obligation comes pushing through hard times and figuring out a way to make it happen, just like you said. Regardless of if it takes a little bit longer or not, it is your obligation to develop the discipline and figure out how to fill in the gaps between what you feel you were created for and what that end vision is. And
Yeah.
it'll come about.
I just like how pathetic. I was talented as a kid. I know it. I mean, like, I was gifted. I wasn't like a prodigy or anything like that. But I think that and by no means am I the best violinist in the world. I am like number 6,072nd best violinist in the world. Like, whatever.
Right.
But I think that what I do has the ability to touch people in some way. Yeah. And so, how pathetic would it be if I didn't do that?
Right.
Yeah,
If you
it's just
didn't even
it's just a
try.
cop
I just didn't
out.
do anything.
Yeah, it's just weak.
Just because I was like, oh, you know, like,
Well, What if?
What if I really just would rather like, I don't know. It's
I'm
like
gonna go
too
work at
hard.
Macy's.
It's
and
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, right. Dude, one of my favorite lines
I
comes
know.
from that movie with Robert De Niro, A Bronx Tale. He said, the worst thing in life is wasted talent.
Yeah.
You know, when you are given that gift, man, it's yours. You should own it, and you should feel that responsibility to do something with it.
Totally.
Man, and I like what you're saying about, like, you know, giving it back and doing it to connect with people.
Yeah. I mean, like, the perspective that some people have on performance is, I think, like, really truly good performers probably have this, like, and it's not an issue, but, like, I know a lot of people who are maybe haven't found that purpose in their performance. Like, there are people who are just, like, good at their instrument and do it because they have a job. Like, maybe...
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they're not good or whatever, but having the right attitude about your performance really changes your connection with an audience. Like, you were given basically a gift that you can transcend emotional levels in front of however many people are in front of you. Like, that's insane. And it opens people's minds in a way that they can't open themselves on a daily basis.
Yeah.
If that's not something that they were given, or that they feel that they have access to, or if they've found yet. I should put it that way, because I think that more
Right.
people can do it than they own believe. But you know, you have an obligation to do that, and I think that you should treat every performance as if you've got somebody in the audience like it's their first performance, their first concert, or their last concert.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know, it like, why wouldn't I give it everything that I can?
No, exactly.
Totally.
That would make me the biggest asshole.
Yeah, right. Just because you're having a bad night and wanted to wear your T-shirt.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Wow, I totally get that. So then what is your, I mean, I know this is a huge question, but it sounds like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but your approach to performance is just like kind of transferring what you're feeling inside, the gratitude for being given the gift to be able to share your talents with like this whole crowd. You're trying to transfer that feeling through your instrument to them in the audience. Is that kind of right?
Kind of. I mean, I haven't exactly figured it out.
Yeah, you don't have to
I
put
don't
it in
know.
words. It's
I don't
kind of
know.
the thing, yeah.
I think that, like, the thing about live music that touches people is the fact that they can't, like, a lot of people don't feel personally at liberty due to, like, whatever their circumstances, society, whatever, to, like, really free themselves and release into out of reality or whatever, like that transcendence sort of thing that I've described a little bit.
Yeah.
And they get to do it for a minute while they're watching you do it,
Got it.
I think.
Yeah.
Because most people are really bogged down with responsibility or, you know, responsibility, upholding social standards, like looking cool, acting
Yeah.
normal, not being crazy. All of these things that you have to, like, throw out the window if you're about to give a good performance and just get in the moment. Like, when's the last time, like, people don't get in the moment.
Right.
Oh,
Ever.
Totally.
Ever.
That's not a thing that a lot of people unfortunately get to do, or they haven't tried yet, I guess.
Yeah.
And
That's so true.
that's like the kind of transcendence that I'm talking about. Just being in the moment and creating something actively, like meditating, but creating at the same time. And the only time that some people get to do that is whenever they're watching you do it.
Exactly.
And that's an important role.
And if you're not really doing it, you're not really doing it.
Yeah.
No, totally.
You can see that.
There was this. I was listening to this comedian, and you know, it was on the lines of this, where he was the funniest motherfucker in the room. Okay, like out of all the comics, he was the funniest, and he goes up there, and he just like, motherfucker is funny. Okay, way better jokes than everyone else, but everyone else got more love from the audience. And they asked him, well, why? They're like, well, why do you think that was? And all the other comedians said, because he thinks he's the fucking funniest person in the room. He doesn't connect with his audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, like, what you're saying, like, when you're going up there and you're giving it your all, you're giving it your all, but you're giving it to them, right?
Right.
That's so important. And a lot of performers, I mean, we see them all the time. They don't really do that.
No.
They're like, I'm the shit, and here's my shit. You should dig my shit. No, this is not how it works.
You should
man.
like this.
You should like this.
That's bullshit.
You're welcome. You're welcome for
right?
me fucking being here. Are you kidding me?
No. Like the act is being in the moment. I don't know how or what or why. I don't know what the long-term thing about this is, but I think that that's what you've got to do. Yeah. And that's just what I try to do.
Yeah. Not only in a musical setting, but just in daily life.
My daily life is a musical setting. I'll call you when I have a couple days off.
Yeah.
No, you're right. In daily life too.
Yeah.
I was just messing with you.
No, I'm with you.
Giving them the business.
People aren't in the moment. You gotta you gotta get in the moment. People avoid the moment. The moment can be frightening.
Oh, the moment's scary as
It really
shit.
is. It's very vulnerable.
It's very, very much so. In a world full of people trying to look cool and act normal and fuck.
Yeah. That's like really, that's a good point, because when you're in the audience and you watch somebody just going up there and just they're in the moment and they don't give a fuck about looking cool. They're just they're just giving you their soul. They're not looking over their shoulder saying, is this all right? No. That is so refreshing as an audience.
Yeah.
And as a listener, especially a fan of music, like that's what you want.
Right.
This guy's on stage. He don't give a fuck. And I'm feeling every single bit of that.
Totally.
And it's making me, it's giving me energy.
That's the way that
you feel.
That's the only way some people get to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like, have 3 jobs and 6 kids and you have to go from one job to the next and your bank account is just constantly the kids or the bills or the house or whatever it is. Like, a lot of people don't have a chance.
Right. Yeah, it's very difficult.
To like step back and just do the thing.
Yeah.
It's like
that's so true.
Responsibility. And then there's people who just avoid the moment, which is it's just like a tragedy of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. That is literally the best way to describe the job of a musician I've heard.
I don't know, but I think it must be.
No, it's true. And innately, like we all feel that as musicians, but that's the best way I've heard it articulated in a long time, which is awesome.
It's like, there's a lot of people too that are just like perfectionists when it comes to I want to be a great player. I wish I was the best violinist in the world. I wish I never made mistakes, but like I think that this is far more important.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it's more impactful to a wider range of people. Most people don't know if you mess up a little bit, right? No. If it's glaringly obvious, that's one thing, but to be hyper perfectionist, that's why that doesn't resonate as deeply as what we're talking about here.
Yeah, it was just I'm reading the Joe Perry book, and he said something really good. He's like, man, overthinking things, you lose so much creativity when you overthink. And he battled with Steven Tyler a lot because Steven Tyler was a perfectionist, and every note had to be right. And Joe Perry's like, we're losing the soul, man. We're losing the music. And so that's once Steven Tyler kind of I guess opened up his ears to that. I mean, it was Joe Perry that drove that force, because perfectionism, overthinking, yes, it's good when you're practicing and stuff, but I think when you're performing, you gotta just lose yourself in it, man.
Yeah.
You really do.
And the better you'll play better too.
Totally.
I feel,
no one ever said, man, look at that guy up there, man. Look at him thinking up there. No, totally. He's fucking playing his life out right now.
Right. I'm like, you know what? Let's be honest. There's a large amount of preparedness that goes into that too.
Absolutely.
Fine.
So you can let it go. Yeah.
So you can let it go. But if you let it go, more than likely you're going to play great.
Yeah.
And it's going to have an impact. If you can't let it go, if something happens, more than likely you're not going to play great.
Yeah. Well, you doing all those shows, the rehearsals are, I know, like you're totally prepared and stuff, but when you're up on stage in front of 40,000 motherfucking people, are you thinking when you're playing? You're going up there and you're in the moment? Man,
I was totally not prepared, actually. Like our rehearsals were like, I was like totally not prepared. Like for the first show that we did, we had those crazy rehearsals. Yeah. There's so many people in the band. It's like impossible to really corral the whole thing. It's now it's like a well-oiled machine. It's like fantastic. We got to the point that we were like a machine, and we could like build on it and change and do better. But at the beginning, I was terrified, man. Yeah. But there's been shows where I was like totally thinking about it, listening, like, oh God, I gotta do the thing, I gotta do the thing right, I gotta do it right. I'm thinking. And then there's shows where you're just like totally in it, and I just shut the thing off and be the thing. And that's definitely when it totally rocks.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's like, this is a goal, right? This is like the objective of what you're doing. You're not always going to meet it.
Right. Like
there's going to be times where like you can't just let it all go and like transcend into another dimension like in front of 40,000 people. Like it's not going to happen every time.
Yeah.
But at least be like, if that's like what you're going into it trying to do, if you're like attempting it in some fashion, it's going to help. You're going to get there most of the time.
Sure, yeah, it's the
But yeah, there was definitely plenty of shows where I was like totally in my head and freaking out. And I'll be honest, I feel terrible after those shows.
Oh, there's nothing worse than a bad show.
No,
it's
man.
Fucking the worst.
It's horrible. And it, like, I'm not one of those people who's like, whatever, like, next time will be better. I feel bad for like days.
Yeah.
It really negatively affects my psyche.
Yeah.
Yeah, understandably.
Man.
We've all had those shows, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it does. It affects you. Oh, God, does it fuck you up?
It really does.
It really does.
And if you tell me that you haven't had one of those, you're just fucking lying.
No.
Yeah, or you just don't care, so you should find something else to do, honestly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just a sign of...
I mean, I wish I had a little bit more control of, like, saying, hey, like, you are going to be able to do it better next time. Like, it's over. It's fine. I'm working on that part of me. But, like, yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Well, so I want to. We're unfortunately getting about that time. We could go for hours more on this.
Extended version.
Yeah, I do.
Extended cut.
I do have kind of a practical question for you because I think it is important. We were talking about earlier. You feel creatively like you have a gift to share, and you are obligated to share that if you feel that pull within you. Now, if I'm someone who has put a lot of time and effort into it, and I'm not getting to a certain level of success that I want with my career, be it music or anything else, can you give maybe like your one piece of like practical advice that you would give to someone who is thinking of getting out of their creative path completely to start something safer, like whatever, be it a day job of sorts, and just kind of leaving it all out? Can you kind of search and give some advice for like how to avoid that and look for opportunities to make your particular path work out? Be that networking, be that reframing how you structure yourself as a business, just to give you some prompts, anything like that?
Yeah, I think two things come to mind. My first thing that comes to mind is like, I'm assuming that a lot of this is maybe about financial questions, like,
for sure.
Are you able to live? Are you having trouble living?
Mm-hmm.
With your living? I would like to say that getting a job and that's like not exactly what you want to do, and that is going to give you some more money to support yourself, is not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that you have to quit everything else. I think that there's a lot of people that like let pride get in the way of that. And they think that, oh no, I couldn't possibly go do this or that. Oh, come on. Or what? Really? Are you really too good to do this or that and this?
Right. You
should be so lucky that you can do a job and help yourself pay for the shit that you want to do.
Yes.
You should be so lucky. So I think that if there's a financial aspect to it, you've got to get creative in the way that you finance yourself. Be it a job that maybe you don't want to do, and sorry, tough luck, you have to do some jobs that you don't want to do sometimes.
Right.
Or invest in yourself in some other way. I've always got a couple different projects going on. I think that I'm going to make this my point number 2.
Yeah.
Number one, don't be afraid to go ahead and do something different and get another job paying for something. You don't have to stop doing the other pursuit, the creative pursuit. Maybe you'll have to like scale it back a few hours a week or whatever. But you can have a job and still do this at night for a while, stock up money, save money.
Absolutely.
Just slow down the pace a little bit, put money away, and maybe like that'll give you a new perspective on what you're doing anyways.
Yeah.
You can look at it as it's funding your passion.
Totally. Yeah. I'm not saying to like, too many people just give it up. Like they'll go do the job and like quit and totally give it up.
Yeah.
I don't think you should do that. If you're not ready to do that, don't do that. And second point is I think that people are a little too hard on themselves when it comes to like the living and finances stuff, because it appears as though everybody's only doing one thing. Well, guess what? Everybody's doing 5 things.
Absolutely.
You just don't know about the other 4.
Yeah.
You know, I learned that like pretty early on when I was living in New York. I knew some musicians who, when you get like personally involved with them as friends, you find out, oh shit, you have all these other projects. You're doing these crazy gigs. You're also investing in this company and like starting this side hustle and this and that.
Yeah.
There's like very few people that really only do one thing.
Yeah. That's very true.
That's very true.
Especially here.
Yeah. You know, like, so I bought, like, for example, I bought a house 4 years ago. I feel super grateful for the fact that I play the violin and I own a house and a car. Like, what?
Yeah.
Are you serious,
what
bro?
world are you living in?
Yeah.
What, are you serious, bro? Like, that is, I feel really grateful for that, for my
sure.
life. Like, the 4-year anniversary just came around the bend. So I was like,
Nice.
wow.
Congratulations.
Damn, girl. But, you know, I bought the house. I don't have a regular job. That's like my savings account. I sit in my savings account every night, right?
Yep, yep.
I have people that live with me that rent from me that will, like, sort of, you know, from time to time keep me afloat while things are slow. And attached to it, I have an Airbnb. There's an apartment in the back of the house that I Airbnb out.
Perfect.
And I play, like, 5 other crazy, weird gigs, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of the touring that I do. You've got to do a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
If you're doing one thing and it's not working for you, you just got to step back and realize that everybody's doing 5 things.
Right.
Right.
Even the big guys, right?
Totally. Yeah, they're invested in companies or real estate or
Totally.
have, you know, a multitude of different things. That's great. And like, don't be afraid to step it up and do those multiple things. And just honestly, what it comes down to, what I hear in a nutshell there is just work harder.
Work harder. And like, that's
Yeah.
what, like, my third point of the whole thing is,
Yeah.
okay, so you're going to tell me that you tried everything. Can you look me in the eye? Can you look yourself in the eye and say, I tried everything I could?
They can't do it.
No.
No,
I know they
I don't
can't
think
do it.
so.
I would bet that they can't do it.
If you really have like lost your passion and you say, this is not worth the suffering that I'm doing anymore, I'm not loving it, I have a new interest in something that I really want to do instead.
Yeah.
If you're leaving something because you really want to do something else instead, that's different.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You
That's
know?
being authentic.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I just don't, I'm not buying it.
No.
I'm
no,
not
you
buying
shouldn't.
it that you really, really gave it everything that you could.
Yeah.
And it just takes a long time.
Totally. And you know what's so funny is some people don't even know what their max effort is.
No.
Like just you could use physical fitness for an example. Like, I remember the first time I had a trainer, I was like, dude, I thought I was working out before. The first time I don't have it anymore, but like the first time I worked like a month with a trainer, I was like, shit, that's what hard work feels like. That's the
Yeah.
bar. And
Yeah.
I feel like that can be a metaphor for a lot of people's just normal work ethic too. Like, you think, oh man, I just got done with my 40-hour week and now I got to chill on the weekend. It's like, dude, you have a lot more hours in the day that
Yeah, you
you
do.
are
Yeah.
probably not even close to squeezing out. So just, I think finding that threshold of what actual hard work
what
is.
you can actually do.
Totally.
You know, like, just because you get the job, you know what? You work on your thing at night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can find the time to do it.
Totally. You can definitely find the time to do it.
I think we all can look around and be like, I don't know, when's the last time you really just like for a day, maybe 2 days? When's you like the last thing it just chilled and did nothing, like didn't do anything to either get better at something or gain knowledge in something or to practice something
been
or
a
to do
long
something
time,
to
man.
benefit yourself? It's been fucking a long time.
It's been
right?
a long time, man.
Yeah.
It
a
has.
long time.
Or you're on your way somewhere, you're on your way to somewhere. I mean, damn, it's like And if I am chill, I wish I could be a little bit more chill. You know, like I sometimes, if I could just give myself a day off. I'm thinking about the fact that I gave myself a day off and I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
It's like,
dude, I know.
Exactly. That guilt starts to set in.
Totally.
You're like, all right. Shit, I gotta find something to do.
I saw this meme.
Let's go cut some weeds.
It was like,
Yeah.
bitching about how, oh my God, I just need a week off. I need a day off from work. I need a week off, and it's like 2 days into it, like total existential crisis. Just
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Exactly.
you know,
Absolutely.
That's funny.
totally. Like that's me. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to be chill in July because like I knew that I was going to be home in Nashville, like reconnecting with friends and stuff for like 6 weeks or something before I had to go again. And I felt, you know, relaxed for a couple days, and now I just feel like the world's biggest loser. Like, I gotta play some more gigs. Like, what am I doing with my time? What am I doing with my life?
It feels uncomfortable to just be like sitting there and loafing. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I went on a walk today because I like walks. I like walks because for creatively they kind of
You look like a walker.
I'm a definite big walker. I like a hiker. I like to say hiker because I
love what Nashville thinks a hike is. It's like a stroll for the rest of the world.
I know they have a lot of legit.
I'm going hiking at Percy. You went on a stroll.
Okay.
Around the
It's
fucking
paved.
duck pond.
It's paved.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but like Radnor though, dude. I'm from Northeast Ohio, man. We got some hills and stuff and some woods. Okay, don't hate. But no, I go to Radnor and they got some paths, man. They're not easy.
No, they're
but
not.
Like I go, that's my like chill time. But you know what I do on my chill time is I put headphones on and I got songs that like I need lyrics to, and I constantly just write in my head as I do my chill thing. Like I
Yeah,
can
you're
never,
not chill. I mean,
I'm not
that's
really
chill.
chilling, man. I'm like I should just like turn it off and listen to the sounds of nature, which probably would be nice. But I'm like you're working. It's like you're working,
Yeah.
but it's better than just, I guess, sitting in here doing it. It's like I'm out there getting like recharged a little bit, and I
Right.
think better when I move.
Totally.
I think better when I move,
Yeah,
man.
me too. It's like it comes in like fucking bullets, man. Just creative ideas one after one. I have to take out my phone and like do the like voice dictation because I'm like
Totally.
I don't want to lose this.
Totally.
When 5 minutes before I started the walk in my house, I was like, I'm just sitting there like on autopilot, nothing, and then like start moving, start getting out there, and it's just like it's a creative storm. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't turn it off. Yeah. And I think that's a creative thing with a lot of people who are in music or a creative industry.
Totally.
Or actually, you know what? I take that back. Self-employed, just entrepreneur.
yeah,
You know
Yeah.
what? You don't really turn it off. So you either feel like one of two things. You feel like you're working all the time, or you feel like you're never doing anything.
right.
Yeah.
You know, because you're like, I like playing music. I like
Yeah.
playing and practicing it. It's like, I feel like sometimes I'll like practice or guitar or whatever for like a couple hours in the morning. And if somebody asks me, what'd you do today? I'll say, nothing. I just dicked around.
Exactly.
No,
yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
practiced my instrument
did.
for like 2 hours. Like that's actually a thing, but it's
Totally.
just
Right.
like, it feels like leisure time sometimes. So you
Yeah.
either feel like you're just working nonstop because you can't get anything out of your mind or nothing.
Yeah.
We got
I
to
know,
find a
even-
balance between that, actually.
It would probably it'd be healthy. I have a problem with movies too because I love cinema. I love just a great film. But my thing is I start watching it, and how many times I'll bring out my phone and write down like a lyric because someone said it. Like Tarantino movies, dialogue is amazing. They say some great shit in there. There's so much like creative, like I just get a rush from it that I'm always like writing down lines for. Oh, this would be a cool title for a song. This would be cool. Ruins the movie. Like, am I really even watching the fucking movie? No, I'm working. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like your original question is like, what would you tell those people? And
Yes.
like the threshold of like hard work, like I don't think people go for it.
Yeah.
You really got to go. You got to do
Gotta
it.
bomb those boundaries.
No,
Yeah,
it's very
bomb
true.
it.
The more I look at my like my own experience in the past and like looking around at others that are maybe in that similar position, it's the tough love answer. It's like you're really, I wasn't working hard enough at the time. I learned how to and hit that threshold, and now I keep trying to raise that threshold higher and higher. But I would, if I could go back to myself in that scenario, I'd say, dude, honestly, you're just not working hard
Yeah.
enough.
I don't work hard enough.
And
I
let's
know it.
honestly evaluate that.
I mean, I don't. I know I don't. I work hard, but I don't work hard enough. I've got more in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
Oh, totally.
You know?
No one's ever. We're not satisfied with
No.
like, oh man, no, we really did it today. No, fuck, we probably could have done more.
Yeah,
Totally.
I honestly, even for me, I can't remember the last time I had a day where I was like, literally, I can't get out of this chair. I have nothing left. I
Yeah.
can't remember a day
Yeah.
that it's been like that. Like emotionally, or like cognitively, I can like barely say another word. I can't even take another step. It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to take it to that extreme, obviously, but
No,
if we're saying the maxed
we're-
out level of like
Yeah.
what one day could
Totally.
potentially turn into.
You know, but your question was, what would you tell somebody who's about to give it all up
Yes.
and go do something that they don't want to do in exchange for it? And like what you just said is, what do you really have to give? Have you given it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you have.
No, that's totally true.
Or maybe be smarter about what, like, I'm all for working smart too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe
Plan a
Yes.
different attack to it.
plan a different attack. I'm not saying just work yourself into the ground, but like maybe it's also not a bad thing to sometimes look at what you're doing and saying, this isn't working for me. I
Right.
need to like
Yeah.
redo this part of it or rethink the way I frame this.
No, no,
Reframe it, right?
yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And also,
But don't quit.
definitely not. I think, and especially don't quit if you can't honestly say that you've been giving your art everything you have. Because if you haven't been giving that everything you have, this thing that you claim that you love and want to make your life's work, if you're not giving 100% to that, you're not going to give it to an insurance job or
Oh,
an
no.
IT job.
Right.
So it's not going to get better if you quit it and go to this day job. In
No.
fact, you're going to be like double fucked because now
Yeah.
you're doing
Double
something you
fucked.
hate.
Double fucked.
And you left
Double
like
fucked.
double the pleasure, double minute counts. Yeah, whatever.
No, that's very true.
Not to ruin a serious comment there, but yeah, so.
No, it's true. It's totally true.
Well, that is a perfect stopping point. So you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, thank you again to our guest, Cassandra. So this was a great one, man.
This was fantastic.
I think people are going to find a lot of inspiration
Oh
and
my
definitely
God.
some motivation in this.
I
man.
hope so.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Why else?
Talking
Why else
with
is
us.
there? Why
Yeah.
would you do it? Why else?
Seriously.
I hope so.
Your insights, your stories, like everything, like you've inspired me tonight. This is awesome. So
Yeah.
it's just cool, like getting your perspective and like hearing what you've been able to do and like all the adventures you've gone on. It's super cool. So we really appreciate you giving up your time tonight. And,
No,
you know,
I'm
sharing
happy to
this
be
with,
here.
with everybody
Thank
else.
you
So
for the
Yeah.
great. We could do this all night, man.
we really
Totally.
could.
I actually like really want to kick y'all out so I can play the guitar till my fingers bleed because I'm feeling
feeling lit up.
pumped.
Oh man.
Man.
So where can people find you online? Where do they need to like sign up for an email list to be notified
Cool.
about your stuff? What's
So
all
I
that?
have an email list, and I totally will not spam you. In fact, I think I've sent like one email in the last 6 years, so
Nice.
I will not spam you. But if you go to CassandraSotos.com, which I'm sure will be linked somewhere around here,
Yes.
you can sign up for the email list. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, all the usual suspects, all that stuff. I also have a YouTube that has like 200 subscribers on it. So if you hear
Ooh,
this,
yeah.
I have like great social media presence like everywhere else, but like 4 people watch my YouTube videos.
Dude.
Nice.
So if you're listening to this, please go to my YouTube and subscribe to it.
Yeah, show some love.
Show some love.
Bump those numbers
I need to
up a
bump
bit.
that number up. It's like really pathetic. I can't like send anybody a YouTube link because it has like 3 views, and my mom and
my
was
God.
like 2 of them. My cat was the other one. It's like really bad.
Yep.
My cat.
Hilarious. All right, so definitely be sure to do that, guys. If you found value out of today's BombCast, like I know you did, please head over to iTunes. Leave us that nice-ass 5-star review because we live for that and love to see those. Also, give us a, do the rate and review over there. It helps the show get seen more on the rankings. I don't know why it works that way, but it does. So please do that if you got a chance. Otherwise, share this with a friend if you think they get some value out of it. Tag us up on the gram, whatever you got to do. Also head over to bombersandsleeves.com. Make sure you're on our email list for new notifications for badass podcasts like this when they're coming out so you don't miss anything. And that is it for today's episode. So thank you guys so much as always. Steve?
Bomb your boundaries, baby.